Hey guys, Greg here, Underground Graphics. Today we're going to be doing some work on the Bronco Sport. It's been a long time coming, like I mentioned in a previous video. We're very happy to get this. We know there's been a lot of people asking about when we're going to do kits for the Bronco Sport. The Bronco's been such a great hit. Well, we finally got one and we did get to work on it. We've got lots of kits coming out for it. First one we did is the retro panels. So this is that kit that's been very popular for the Bronco. We did fit this for the Sport. We're going to have a hood piece for it, a back piece that goes around those tailgate letters, and of course your four main body panels. We do have an exclusive kit that you'll see shortly on the site where this is going to be done in Area 51. That will be very exclusive, very limited. Stay tuned for that. For now, we're going to go ahead and show you what the gunmetal kit looks like. I think this is gunmetal. This is sterling silver that we're going to be putting on here. It's a close match to these wheels. Want to get that done here pretty quickly because we're going to change these wheels later today. Anyway, this is going to be a moderate install. What we've learned by doing these kits on the Bronco Sport is this body is completely different from that of the Bronco, obviously, but the width of this, there's a lot of curve coming from the front to that rear. If you were to stand on top of it or even at the front of the vehicle and look down it, you'll see that body kind of come out right in the middle. So this isn't horrible. Some of our other kits that we'll be doing are going to be very difficult up along this body line. It wants to shift up and which is going to distort that graphic. So as we get into that, as we do this installation video for you, we'll talk about that. But with this kit, we did not have problems on our test fit. We didn't have any problems with the Area 51 kit, and that's why we're going to go ahead and do the install video for you today. Gianna is going to be helping me. We've been working together on these installs that seem to be going a little bit better. He's actually better than I am, right? Sure. Anyway, let's get going. Again, this is going to be a moderate install. If you're uncomfortable with it, watch the video. The vinyl, just like all of our kits, are going to be 3M. In this case, this is 3M wrap film. It's all dry install. Do not install these wet. If you're uncomfortable with it, we do provide a QR code that you can scan that'll get you to your nearest 3M certified installer. As well, if you find a wrap installer nearby, show them the material, show them the video, they will thank you for the material. And it is not that hard, but again, if you don't want to do it, you make that call on that. But we'd be happy to talk to you through it and talk to you about it. Let's look at this kit here real quick. Like I said, this is just going to be for our demo use to show you the install. So we are going to go ahead and do one full side plus the hood plus the rear. 1/4-inch pinstriping around everything. Everything is computer cut to fit each panel. Obviously this is going to be our hood. This is that piece on the back that goes around the letters. These will come already cut out for you. So literally it's just applying these over the letters. This I think we are going to tape right and left just to get our alignment points, but we're basically going to just peel this whole backing off, put it in a position, tack it, and let that go. Squeegee right on. Door panel, rear fender or rear quarter. And again, you can see here as well, we've got these cutouts here for the handle, so you can see where that's going to lay down. So it's not too bad. Not a lot of margin for error with these, but again, watch the video. You can judge for yourself. As far as what you're going to need to install this kit, just like everything else, we're going to first alcohol water mix on that paint. We use a 10% alcohol, 90% water in a 16-ounce bottle. We will soon be providing some small bottles if you want to purchase those already pre-mixed through the site. Thank you, Gian. A pair of scissors to cut the backing paper off. A knife. These are ours, and we do have some as well for sale now on the site. They're just going to be your standard precision knife that uses your standard number 11 blade. This is the squeegee that is provided with you at no charge. That comes free with the kit. These are our golden squeegees. These are available now on the site at extra cost. These are our monkey strips, which is kind of like what we use here on our squeegees, just to give you that soft edge. So with the golden squeegee, the 3M gold squeegee, this is what we use here in-house with all of our applications inside. Outside we use these. I like these geek wraps. These are kind of pricey, so again, we're going to give you this one as an economy option that comes with your kit. If you want to buy the monkey strips, I believe those are on the site. I think it's $250. And again, this is the more rigid one, a more permanent one. But if you want that soft edge on there, this is great to do. It's a little hard to get that peeling that started. I'm going to go ahead and put this on that gold one. Ooh, that actually was easier just to split that in half. I didn't know they were like that. Let's see. I'll see if I can get this off my thumb. So to apply that, you're going to go halfway on there. Force that down, flip it over, and there you go. And just make sure you don't get that adhesive exposed. And now we have something that goes right on that vinyl or right on that paint. Again, this is masked, so if you see any imperfections, any blemish, that's basically my fingerprint in there or whatever was being pushed through the laminator. This is what we're going to want to do on that material. You can use that felt side, but you're going to burn through that a lot faster. Again, this is really for a painted surface or just to go right on that exposed vinyl once we take that mask off. I think I got everything. Masking tape, another big thing we're going to use a lot of. I think we're good. Alcohol, paint's clean. I think we wiped this down earlier. Yeah, let's get started. Gian, what do you want to do?
I'm not sure. I haven't thrown this one on yet, so it'll be...
I haven't either.
Oh, good. All right, cool. Cool.
We'll talk our way through this. It shouldn't be too bad. Rory did this, and both times and was really happy with it, how it turned out. Why don't you do hood?
Cool.
Start with hood and maybe do that back, and I'm going to go ahead and start front to back, get everything taped up, and we'll just kind of go from there. All right, so getting started, one of the things I like to do is go ahead and pre-lay all of our masking tape. We're going to use probably 4 to 5 pieces per panel. So I like to go ahead and go down the body of the car, lay those down. Gino's going to have a few pieces up here for the hood. Again, most of these panels are going to go down with the hinge method, which is going to be a top and bottom piece. I like to do a alignment piece for the sides. And then if we have anything that's just oversized, which these are fairly big, it's good to have some around. So we're going to run down here real quick. We're trying to get you all tools on the site. Masking tape isn't on there yet. I'm sure you'll all have that at home. We do have, like I said, the squeegees are new. That monkey strip is new. The blades are new. It is important to have a good sharp blade. You've got microfibers on there now. I'll talk about that in the description. I'm sure you've got plenty of clean towels at home, but if you don't get one, you'll want one clean for this. So one thing to note as well is temperature. You do want to keep this low 70s if possible. Our garage in here, I believe, is like 72, 73. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and tape this. We do want to tape all of our panels first and just make sure everything is where we want it. I was a little bit high on that one. This is going to sit right on top of this crease right here. So we know that's about right there. I'm going to go double check a measurement we took prior and make sure this is right. Dan, why don't you take over on that hood real quick and I'll be right back.
With our hoods, we do have a little bit of paint showing up there at the top. We can get that to roll over if you request that. We can add a little bit of extra length to it if you'd like to do that. But I'm just trying to get this right in the middle of this recess. And I will go back and double check this with measuring, just to make sure I'm not crooked at all. But overall, that'll be the idea of how it is going to lay. Glad I measured that because I am catering to the right about a ½ inch too much. This is definitely why you want to tape first, because if I had applied that being over about a ½ inch, it would have been very sad. And where I'm measuring off of are just kind of the peaks of this body line. 5 inches here. You do want to try and pick the same spot, because if you're trying to measure from a different area, you'll get a different measurement each time. It's even to me. You can start from the back or you can start from the front. I'm going to start from the front. As always, you want to make sure your hands are clean and that you're not doing this outside. You don't want your neighbor cutting their grass while you're trying to install this. So who knows what you'll catch underneath there. Just kind of let this fall right into place. Not pulling it, just letting it fall under its own weight. Always want to use overlapping strokes. Now with this piece being fairly large, you can just go ahead and take the tape completely off. I like to leave it there just in case. I happen to shift one direction or the other. Sometimes whenever you're reaching a little bit further, it might be a bit easier just to leave the paper halfway on the back like this. It's not going to get in the way, but it will help keep the rest of the graphic hovering above. Now we'll take that back. Pull the rest of the paper. Once again, we're just gonna let that fall right in place. Not gonna force it, let it do its thing. If you're a bit vertically challenged like I am, these kind of rigid spots on the hood are a better spot to lean than anywhere that's flat. I like to pull from the corners. It's a little easier to grab. Let these spots meet. If you do get a bubble like this, it's not a problem. Since this is 3M film, it does have air release to it. That's the beauty of applying this dry, that if that bubble had happened in a wet install, it's a little bit more difficult to chase out. I'm definitely liking this gray. You do want to be careful once you start getting to the edge of that pinstripe. Just kind of want to pull a little slow, and always at that 180-degree angle. If you pull straight up, you have a very high chance of pulling that stripe up with it. And trying to get that to lay back down is a nightmare.
So I think I've got the side taped up exactly where I want it. I did want to confirm on this front fender, it is a little tricky. I think we're going to do one more tweak on this before this kit goes out, but I did notice our pinstripe. I had to go back and look at the photos that we just did from last week. This is going to come right up on here. It's not going to go above it. It's going to run right into that vent and then pick up again on the other side of the vent and continue down that fender underneath that hood line. You want this pinstripe obviously to match this hood line. At the same time, there's a lot of curve on this fender. So that's why it's so important to get all 4 of these panels taped up, and then you're going to want to look down either from the rear to the front or front to rear and make sure your alignment is straight all the way down. Once this top line is straight, everything else should line up. You can confirm that down here as well, that this should sit right on top of that gap or that seam here, that top crease. Same thing here. The handles are going to go right around those handles. You have a little bit of more room on the bottom. I think we can tighten that up just a little bit before that production kit goes out. Same thing in there on the rear. And that front fender here, I just went back to confirm. We're going to raise this up about 1/16, maybe 1/16 of an inch, so it sits on top of that seam as it does in the rear. Install is still going to go the same. It's nothing that you're going to even see on a photo or on the camera, but we're going to go ahead and get this kit on. Installation process again is the same, but we will have that small tweak done before the production kit goes out. Again, that's that eye line. You want to look down, and I've got this taped up, so I'm happy with that. If you want to confirm that on your end, Gian.
I already double checked. I like the way it looks.
We're good? All right. So let's go. I'll take front half, you take back half, and we'll meet right there in the middle. And then we'll go on that little small piece on the back, and we'll discuss that as we get to that.
Sounds like a plan.
So as Gian talked about, cleanliness is key in this. So we do want to make sure our hands are clean. You're in a clean environment. The sun, doing this outside is going to make this surely going to be very difficult. This film does not like to be applied hot. So again, that ideal temp, low 70s is ideal. If you can't get that, we do recommend taking this to a shop that can. That is very important. When this film gets hot, it gets soft, it gets tacky, and you're not going to have the benefit of that dry install that we want. As you can see, we've got a little bit of overlap that's going to tuck into the fender. I'm going to go ahead and make a mark here. These are some of these little small tips and tricks. So I have a line up there. I know where I'm going to want to hit. We have yet to take this out, but if we do, that may make that a little bit easier. We wanted to make this as easy as we could so you didn't have to do stuff like that. So we're not gonna do stuff like that. Now we did come up off the fenders on the full-size Bronco. We are coming right to the black. But again, on that full-size Bronco, we can also take those fenders off very easily. So we're gonna keep this, like I said, just above, make that a little bit easier for you. And you saw I just tacked here and tacked here. I'm gonna come off that top line and go ahead and work down. And again, I like that soft end of that squeegee. I'm just used to it. But if you have that hard squeegee, you can do that totally fine as long as you're on top of that transfer paper. And then that's a pretty big bubble there. So we're gonna go ahead and pop that up. Lay that down. We want that soft side so we're not on that paint. And again, so I've done my hinge method, done the right side, lined up exactly where I wanted to be. And now we're going to go do that other trick where we use that tape, use the hard edge of that squeegee, and pull that up. So now I have that line up coming back. I'm just going to carry that over, line that up. See where I'm at. Still there. You can see there I'm a little bit off on that piece. That's that piece that we are going to correct before that production kit comes out. I didn't even notice that in our photos that we had on our Area 51 kit. It's so minimal, but still it's something that we'll get that worked out. I want to go ahead and get that mask off of that so we can tuck this edge and start on our next piece. And again, as Gian said, we cut this transfer paper right to edge, so you may want to use your fingernail just to get that started. Peel that mask back 180 degrees against itself, so you don't want to pull up towards you. And not too fast. And then here, we just tuck that right in there. And again, I'm going to look into getting that bent. I had to pull that out. I know in the Maverick it was a little bit tricky. And if you want to cut that, you can do that as well. Tuck right in. I think I'm just going to cut that. So I'm going to just get that right up to there. And then come back. Well, let's see if we can get that to tuck. We will. Got a little bend in there, but there we go. I'm going to make sure I'm not tacked on this door. There we go. And when we open this door later, we can go back and heat that edge and tuck that edge. For now, we're going to leave it right there. We'll come back and do our next piece. Make sure this lines right back up, and it does. We really don't need that tape because we know we're going to line up here. We're going to line up here at the top. And I'm going to come all the way down here to the right side of that door. How you doing over there, Gian?
Good, good. Did want to go over this little bit of a body line indentation here. So I've already gone ahead and laid this on, but it does kind of turn into a little bit of an odd shape back here. That is totally fine. You don't want to go and heat this up and try to get it just down in there. You don't want to force it. What you do want to do is kind of grab your squeegee and just go over where that void is. Since it is hanging quite a bit, like this is it just relaxing evenly. I can get my fingers behind there, so you don't want to force that. You just want to probably go about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch over where it's not sticking. And just work your way down slowly there. See, I hit that body line, so I'm gonna go ahead and trace that. Same thing, going over about a 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch. Just working down. See, it has kicked up there because it started to move the tension. That's fine. I'm still not going to heat it, because once again, we're in a controlled environment. Just gonna get that down nice and even. So now we can cut to Greg, and I'm going to peel this up, but I'm going to wait to cut it so that you guys can see how to cut the gas door and how to cut that bumper piece out.
Well, I kept it going. I probably shouldn't have kept it going, but I want to get going. Anyway, I made my line up here, peeled back, cut the backing paper off, came back over, tacked top, tacked here, make sure I line back up with this, and then we're going to use those overlapping strokes. And you do want to be careful because you've got a gap in here, so I just want to kind of tap that real lightly, come back, and then work my way back into that handle. And then you can see I've got a little bit of some air in there, and again, because this is air release, that's going to come right out. A little bit right there, we can pull that back up, lay that back down. I've got the right side of that panel done. I'll come back in the left side. And same thing here, we talked about that lineup. I just barely tacked that, so there's still air underneath here. I'm gonna come back with that hinge. You can see I'm using that soft side of that squeegee. You can do the hard side, but you want to be careful not to come. Depends how much pressure. You don't want to hit that paint. Now we're right back into where we lined up at. And done. All right, and then this corner, again, you can see we trimmed those really close to that edge, so you don't want to be careful pulling that mask off. What's that? There we go. Remember that 180 degrees. If you saw that little lift right there, so make sure we go back. And that's why it's nice to have that soft edge on this. Now I can go a little harder or be aggressive on that vinyl and not worry about scratching it. It's the same thing. There is some overlap on that, so I can either lift this back and tuck it, or I can trim on that edge and just have a little bit less to roll into the door. I'm going to go ahead and just tuck this as it is. We get that tucked in. And again, I got to make sure I don't have anything over the seams of the doors, and then we can open it up and get those edges rolled. Gian, how you doing?
I'm doing great. This side lined up. So these door handles can sometimes get a little funky. So what I'm going to do, because I have the mask on still, I can pull this up without having issues. That's why you leave the mask on till you're for sure that you don't need it anymore. I'm just going to get this line right into place. Now about these handles, you do want to go towards the handle. If you go away from the handle, you might catch the lip right there. Pull this down. Could potentially cause a rip in the graphic, so I'm just going to slowly work my way around this handle. Just a little so I can lock that in. Now I'm going to go back and go the direction that I prefer. Just work this out. I see a few wrinkles in there, it's no problem. It's those soft fingers will go away. It's when you have a hard crease is when you might have an issue. Luckily all of these fingers are soft. And you can apply light pressure just to make sure that something's going to go down the way you want it to before actually putting heavy pressure on it, because it is easier to pick it up when it has a light tack to it. So now we have that side done. Swing back on over here, do the other half.
Alright, and I've just trimmed off the excess that was on Gion's door to allow me just to go ahead and tuck that in. And like I said, I'm going to open this up real quick, Gian.
No problem.
And you just want to roll that in a little bit at a time. Once you've done this, we do want to go back with the heat gun over everything, over all the vinyl. Make sure all the adhesive is bonded. There's no spots of air in there. If there is, you'll see a little bit of bubble come up. You let that cool for a second, and then use that soft edge of that squeegee or even your thumb and just push that back down. Heat it again, warm it again, and it should stay down and you'll be good to go.
Now you don't have to have the vinyl looped around in your hands like this. I just did it so that way I'm not trying to swing over here while that door was open, have my fingers pinched. That doesn't make for a fun time at all. So make sure that body line, actually that pinstripe lines up. I'm going to lock in my stripe. Just going to evenly work my way down. Again, those are those key overlapping strokes. Never hurts to go back over it another time before you pull that mask off. Go ahead and remove our tape markers. Try and lock in this edge so that way it's easier to pull off that mask. See, we nailed it very easily. Again at that 180-degree angle. And then just whenever you get to that pinstripe, just kind of take your time. So that way the mask doesn't pull up that stripe. Little bubble there, no problem. Do have a little bit of a lift here. Still no worries. Just gonna lock that in. Go back over that with your hand. Of course, whenever you do check everything with the heat gun, then you will see if all of this is locked in or not. For the back here, I'm gonna lift just a little bit those edges, just so that way they're not stuck to the quarter panel. I'm just gonna barely feed them in. Nothing too crazy. I haven't tucked them around, I just fed them in so that way I go to open this door, then it doesn't pull.
So same thing that Gian just did. I just want to lightly lift that off this door so we can tuck that in. Actually, you can even open that up and really roll that in. Again, nice to have that soft edge of that squeegee. Let's give it a little buffer on that paint, on that raw vinyl. You can see just almost perfect. Here we go.
Since Greg's done the front of the door, I'm gonna lock in the back side of it. Same thing, you don't want to rush rolling the edge over. You can get it to buckle very easily. You just kind of work up and down, little by little, going towards the inside. Once you have that set, now I'm gonna come back to the part that I promised, gas door. So you do want to grab your heat gun, make sure it's at, I guess you can say, max temperature. What I like to do is I like to just kind of hover it over my hand. If it feels like it's a little too much for your hand to bear, then that's at its peak. You don't want to superheat this. You just kind of want to get it nice and warm. You can tell I didn't have that on for too long. Probably took me longer to warm it up than it did for me to actually heat up the vinyl. Just kind of want to work your way into this recess. Same thing with the back bumper. Not too much heat. It's one of the good parts of that felt. If you do try to use the hard side of the squeegee, it can potentially cut the vinyl before you're intending to. So that's why I'm using the soft side, so that way I can get that pretty much as deep as I can without causing any damage. Because it would be very upsetting to get this far and then have something like that happen. So here, you want to get right on top of the bumper. I'm not hovering right in between the quarter panel and the bumper. I'm sitting right on it. Of course, you want to make sure your blade is good and sharp. I've gone through that pinstripe. If you try to follow in between, you might not get an even cut, so I'm using the bumper to keep my hand steady. I do have a little bit of an angle to the knife, so that way it's not going to drag the vinyl. Also, like I said, helps that the knife is very sharp, because a dull blade will not give you a clean cut. I'm going to heat this one more time, just extremely quickly, nothing too crazy. Go back over it one more time with that soft side of the squeegee. For that pinstripe, you do kind of want to push in, you don't want to slide across, because it is possible to shift that a little bit. Once you have that in place where you like it, now you can go back with that hard edge. Work that into there. Looks extremely clean. Last but not least, the gas door. Be sure you don't forget your gas door. because you eventually will need to put fuel in your vehicle, and it would be a huge bummer to pull up to your gas station and you have temporarily shut your gas door. So once again, I'm just butting the knife up right up against the gas door. I'm going to stop here at the bottom, come back up to the top, and meet the cut. Slow and steady wins the race. And there we go. Once again, hit it with a little bit of heat, nothing too crazy. Soft side of your squeegee. Again, with the pinstripe, you just kind of want to just push that in gently. Nothing too intense. Now slowly work that edge in. You do want to be very careful down here because it does get thin where it touches that quarter panel. Go back over it with your felt. Now I could use the hard edge, but I'm not going to since I can open up this gas door and make sure everything's sealed with my thumb. Come back here. Make sure this is all locked in nice and clean. Alright, now we'll switch on to the back.
Alright, so now we're on the back of the Bronco Sports. Gion's done a fantastic job of getting the rear end finished up. And now the last pieces we have is the hatch. We spent a lot of time getting these letters scanned in so we can make this as easy as possible and look as clean as possible. So we did individually cut every letter out of the vinyl, traced around the Sport. We got our pinstripe on here, and with this template you'll be seeing a lot of other products as well that are going to follow our other kits as well. We're going to do the hinge method again on this. The first time I did this, I just pulled it, stuck it, laid it. That's not how I want you to do it. This is the safe way. So again, we're going to hinge it, tape top, tape bottom, tape right, tape left. I got it exactly where I want it. Every piece on this vehicle is going to be measure, tape, and then pull it, make sure you have it exactly where you want it. Not like a wet kit. Once this is stuck, it is, while it can be pulled up with the pinstripe, you're going to have a tough time. So don't get yourself in that corner. Make sure you have it where you want it, and then we'll apply it. So with that, again, my little trick is to just kind of tear that tape, give myself that line up. We're going to do that hinge. And with these cutouts, you do have to be a little careful. It's going to get kind of loopy and kind of droopy. Is that a word? Droopy? Yeah. Put that down. And again, just want to match that. You don't want to pull too tight. This will stretch. So just match that up. Get a light tack on that. We do want to start in here and just kind of work. It's almost like we're just going to have to, and that's why I want to make sure it's taut when you pull that, because we're going to have to really just use our finger to get in there and make sure we've got adhesion, or that adhesive is attached everywhere down there in the end. And again, because of the air release, when we pull this up, this is unheard of for a wet install kit, that you can do that. And now this is down. Now we'll pull up that middle tape and hinge our other side. If I can get that up, there you go. As Gian was doing his install, I was looking at some of the other pieces, and I really like this color with these wheels. These are, this is the Badlands, so I'm not sure what wheels come on the other models, but that gray was a really nice match. And we are about to put on a new set of wheels. Thank you, 1552. Just remember, kind of keep that taut. We're just going to line that right back up. Don't pull too hard. Just enough to keep that. There's no slack in it. And I'm really just kind of going light with that now. I know I'm going to come back and double check everything. And again, when we pull that mask off, we'll know if there's any spots we missed. And even though we did, now I'm going to go back a little bit harder on that. That's our friends at Bronco Outfitters calling. They're excited for these new kits. All right. And again, we cut these pretty tight, so you really want to be careful when you pull up that transfer paper. I can see right there, I just started to pull the vinyl up, so be patient with it. There we go. Remember that 180 degrees, there's a spot right there that I've already a little piece there wasn't tacked, but it laid right back down. And again, as you get these ends, just like Gian pointed out, I'm going to go real slow. Just not a lot of adhesive, not a lot of surface area on that vinyl. So we want to make sure that's got tack as we pull that off. And once that's off, then we can go back, and this is where we're going to go back with our heat gun and really check everything. Alright. Let's step back, take a look, and get some photos. Yeah, this is I'm sure this is going to be one of our favorite kits. We love those retro panels. Kicks back some nostalgia and just works really well on this vehicle. As I said earlier, the body lines of this, there's a lot of curve to them. So if you're uncomfortable after watching the video, please reach out to a professional wrap shop. They'll know how to do that. Have them watch the video just so they have some tips on where we started, how we made that kit. And call us. Again, any questions, we'd be happy to walk you through it, tell you some more tips, how we did it. Yeah, this kit will be online probably by the end of the week, first of next week. It will be available sides only or with the front and rear pieces as well. Not sure on pricing yet, but again, that'll be on the site. Yeah, again, any questions, feel free to give us a call. Gian, you got anything you want to add on this kit? This is your first time to do it too. Yeah,
it is.
What did you think?
I liked it. Install wasn't anything, I guess, crazy. Nothing that really jumped out at me, made me feel like I was, probably going to be backed into a corner or something like that. I definitely like how it matches the wheels, and it really just kind of brings the whole vehicle together. Even kind of like helps out the black on the top also. Also, definitely heat check after you've done everything. You don't want to go for a drive to go to your neighbor's house, show them, hey man, look at this graphic that I just put on. You got a piece that's already flopping off. So always heat check, make sure everything's good on it. And just in case, because we might actually go do a little something in this, I'm going to heat check it. So that way, none of our friends are pointing it out to us. So we got just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Never hurts to go back and check your work. It's a lot easier to check it now than have to call us and reorder something or try to fix it on the fly. You do want to kind of disperse the heat a little bit, so that's why I'm spinning the heat gun in circles, because if you try to stay focused in one spot, you might burn the vinyl. Depending on what color you might get, it might take a little bit more heat than other colors, but you don't want to chance it. Just wave over it nice and even. If you're not too comfortable with the heat gun, you can sit back from a little bit. It's not going to get it as hot, but you can tell about 2.5, maybe 3 inches from where I was before. If you're a little bit more experienced, you can get a little closer. Yeah, a little bit of a bubble there, nothing too bad. Also with the heat gun, it gets rid of those squeegee scratches if you've had any from needing to take the mast off, and if you have to go over anything with your squeegee, especially that hard side, it can leave light little kind of bird feet scratches in it. Nothing that's too deep that heat won't get out of it. I am going side to side, but it is the same as going in that circular motion. Just stop there. No worries. Definitely want to heat check, especially if it's supposed to rain the next day. I know a lot of people aren't going to, probably check the weather before doing an install, but if it is supposed to rain later on that day or the next day, then you do want to heat check it, because the water, which is why we don't do wet installs on the graphics, the water will creep underneath that adhesive and it will dry it out and it will not lay back down. So a quick flash of heat will always put you in the right direction. I'm not sure if we have anything else that we're adding on to this. I don't believe we are, but Greg, you have anything you wanted to throw in there?
Last thing is, again, most of our kits come with IPC. I know we've talked a little bit about that in the past. It's on the website. IPC is our Install Protection Care Program. Again, not all kits have it. This one will have it. So if you do make a mistake, we know it happens. We've done it as well. But if we do it, we can fix it on the fly. If you make a mistake and something happens, something goes down crooked, you tear something, whatever it may be, document it. There is a link on the site that asks you, we want some photos, we want to know what happened, and we'll send you out a new piece. We do ask you to pay shipping, but I messed up the front left fender, I messed the driver right, the door, the rear door. Let us know what it is. We just want to see pictures. We want to know what happened. Again, no charge for that, those pieces. So a little bit of insurance with that. Again, I think everything else is just as Gian said. We just did that install. That was probably about an hour, I think, for that side. So you're looking probably about, with prep, getting into it. I know we stopped a couple times, hour to hour and a half for this kit. So again, if you do want to have someone else do that, that should be that medium. I know every shop charges something a little bit different depending on your area. But an hour and a half to 2 hours should be a fair assessment for that. Again, any questions you have, feel free to reach out. We're always here Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 Central, or email. I think there's a chat box on the website as well, which we usually answer that pretty quickly as well. Anyway, we're going to get some pictures, some more video of this, and yeah, look for lots of more stuff for the Bronco Sport. We've got a lot of stuff coming just in the next week.